What's up everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm the Ember and today I'm going to be showing you how to make these iridescent materials in Blender. They're actually really simple to make, but they look really good. We'll be using a few cool techniques you can use in your other projects. Okay, so without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. So we've opened up Blender here, and you know what I'm going to do. After that's done, I'm going to press Shift A and add a icosphere. Now before we click anywhere or do anything else, let's go down to this little panel, click that to open it, and I'll turn the subdivision levels to 1. Now let's go over to the modifier properties and add a bevel modifier. Let's just turn that amount down, and I'll make this segment something like 10. Now I'll right click and shade auto smooth. Now let's just head straight over to shading, and I'll go over to the render properties, and let's use the cycles render engine, and I'll enable the GPU, go down to color management, and I'll make this very high contrast. Let's make the max render samples 212, and let's go over to rendered view. Now everything's pretty dark, so let's click this drop down and disable scene lights and scene world. Now I'll add a new material. I'll just name this one Iridescent Glass. Now I'm going to delete the principled BSDF, Shift A and add a glass BSDF. Now I'll plug that in, and you can see we have some glass refraction happening. I'm going to add a add shader node, put that in there, and I'll duplicate our glass shader 2 times, duplicate the add shader, and plug the output of the second one into the second socket of the first one. Make a bit of room here, and then plug the second and third glass BSDF into the add shader. Okay, hope you followed me there. So this is a pretty simple setup, but you can see our glass is kind of being exaggerated. So let's fix this. I'm going to turn the color of the first one to be fully red. I'll make the second one fully blue, and the third one fully green. And now you can see we're back to where we started. Because we're using the 3 primary colors, we're going back to white. And so now I need to offset the colors a little bit to get that color separation effect. So for the blue glass BSDF, I'll make the IOR 1.45, and for the green, I'll make it 1.4. Now you can see we're getting our effect. We want to make this a bit rough as well, so I'll press Shift A, add a value node, and plug that into all the roughness sockets, just so we can adjust them all at the same time. And I'll make this 0.15, should be fine. So now we have our iridescent refracted glass effect. We need to add some color to it. So open up your browser of choice. I'm just using Arc. And then we just head over to pexels.com. And let's just search for abstract colors. So something like this is pretty good. You can see we have blue and purple and black. That'll look pretty nice, so let's download that. Something like this would also be pretty nice. Let's download that. This blue and black one also looks pretty nice. Yeah, so just download any ones that you like. We can also type in abstract paint colors to get this sort of swirly paint effect. Then you can type in the color you want or something like red. This one looks pretty nice. Let's download that. Okay, now we're back in Blender. I'm going to go over to the world properties, and on the color you can see we have this little yellow dot, so I'll click that, and then we can go to texture and click environment texture. Then I'll click the open button and go to where we saved all those files. I'm just going to select this one and then open the image, and you can see nothing changes because we have disabled scene world and scene lights. So let's go up to this drop down and re-enable them. Okay, that looks pretty good, but the background is pretty distracting. So let's go to render properties, down to film, and we can just turn on transparent. So this is the main effect, and it looks really nice. We can also go to the world tab and bump the strength up to 3. It might be a bit much. We can do like 2 or something. Let's just try a different one. Let's try this blue one. That one actually looks really nice. Oh, this red one actually looks pretty good as well. I like this one. It actually looks like some candy or something. Yeah, so just play around with this so you have something that looks good to you. I think I'm going to go with this blue and purple one. Okay, that looks pretty nice. Let's go back to the world layout. Select the camera. Press Alt R and Alt G to reset location and rotation. Press RX90. Move it along the Y axis. Go into camera view. And let's make this 1080 by 1080. And I'm going to go down to the camera properties and make this orthographic. And let's just bring the orthographic scale in a bit. Okay, something like that looks fine. Now let's give this a bit of animation. So bring up the timeline, select our icosphere, press I, go to the end, rotate this on the Z axis by 360, press I again. Now you can see we have a full loop. And that loops perfectly. This is a bit long. Let's try 180 frames. This is still a bit slow, so let's try 90, which is half of 180. Bring that keyframe in. That's a pretty good speed. Can you shut the window? There's kids screaming out there. Okay, so let's just do a test render. This shouldn't take too long depending on your computer. It took 18 seconds for me. So let's just close that and go to compositing. I'll click use nodes. And first of all, I'm going to add a glare node. And let's add a viewer node so we can see what we're doing. And plug the glare into the viewer. Looks pretty good. Let's hold down Alt and middle mouse button, drag this over. We can also press V to make it a bit smaller. Let's put it in the corner like that. Now I'm going to duplicate this glare and turn this to fog glow. And I'm just going to hold down Shift and right click and drag to join these two together. Move it out and add a lens distortion node. Let's make the distortion something like 0.01 and 0.01. Let's enable fit. That's not enough, so let's try 0.05, 0.05. We could even go a bit higher. Let's try 0.1. Okay, so that's a bit much. I think 0.05 should be good. That should be good. Let's go back to layout. I'm going to go to output properties. And let's just choose a place for the render. And I'll make the file format FFmpeg video. Open encoding. Make this MPEG 4. And then we can just quickly calculate how long this will take. So I'll just do one more render with the compositor enabled. That took 17 seconds. I have no idea how that's faster. And let's just do a quick calculation to see how long this will take to render the full animation. So open up a calculator, and since it took 17 seconds, let's just do 17 times 90, which is the amount of frames we have. That equals 1530. Let's divide that by 60 to see how many minutes it will be. And you can see that will only take 25.5 minutes. So now let's just click render and render animation. And the thing I love about this setup is it's so easy to get a different look. All we have to do is change the environment texture, and then we have a totally different look and style. Now we have that done, let's move on to version 2. And again, we're absolutely going to demolish the default cube and add a icosphere. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. Go to modifiers, add the bevel again, and make it 10, and shade auto smooth. Now let's go up to shading, enable cycles and GPU compute, and I'll just stay in Eevee for the moment. So let's add a new material, and I'll grab a layer weight node. How do you say that? Fresnel? Fresnel.
Fresnel.
Okay, so we're just going to plug the Fresnel into the surface of the material output, and you can see the effect we get. Let's try the facing. You can see that effect's a bit more intense, so let's use that. Plug it into the color ramp, and then plug the color ramp into the base color, then plug the base color into the material output. Let's set the first color stop to red, and let's set the second one to red as well. Now we have a red sphere. It's not even a sphere. Now we have a red icosphere. Let's change the RGB to HSL, and then change it from near to far. Then you can see the effect we get. It's all rainbow and crazy. Then let's turn the metallic up and the roughness down. There you go, you can see we have this iridescent, anodized metal sort of thing. You can also clamp the color ramp a bit, and you can see we get a different effect. We can also change the color to get a different effect. Something like this looks pretty cool. Now I'm going to add a sky texture. Go to rendered view. Looks pretty good. Now let's go into camera view. Let's do the same thing we did before. Reset the location and rotation. Alt-R-Alt-G, RX90, and move it back on the Y. Let's make the aspect ratio 1080 by 1080. Zoom it in and make it orthographic. Zoom it in. This effect also works in Eevee, so let's switch over to Eevee and enable ray tracing. There we go, that should render heaps faster. Now let's go back to layout, bring up the timeline. Instead of 250, let's make it 180 frames. Hit I on the first frame, go to the end frame. Then let's just click R twice on the keyboard and rotate this something weird like that. Then hit I again. Then we can see what that looks like. Let's go to rendered view. Let's rotate it a bit more. And we can actually get this to loop. So let's go to the end again. Go to the object properties. And let's just click and drag on all the rotation values and make it 360. Then hover over and click I and press play. Okay, I've lost way too many Blender projects by not saving, so I'm just going to quickly save, go to render properties, color management, make it very high contrast again, go to film, enable transparency, output properties, save that to a place, make it FFmpeg video, and change the container to MPEG 4. Okay, so that's all pretty basic stuff. Now let's just render a frame. This should take no time at all. There you go, it took 0.81 seconds. Go to compositing, use nodes, add a glare, add a viewer, and we're not going to use streaks this time. Let's just use fog glow. Hold down shift, right click and drag to join those again. Add lens distortion, enable fit. Let's go 0.05, 0.05. And I might just change the strength of the fog glow down to like 0.5. Then let's go back to layout and just render the animation. Okay, that's really flying. It shouldn't take long at all. Okay, so it's done rendering. That looks pretty nice. The glare is a bit strong, but we can change that later. So again, this is super easy to customize. If we go back to shading, we can easily just change one of the color stops to get a different result every time. We can change the other one as well. And we can also use the Fresnel to get a weaker effect, which still looks pretty good. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you learned something and you found this helpful. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. And with that said, I will see you in the next one.